Hello, we are starting a new chapter in math. We're starting math chapter 9. Now, the pages that I sent to you guys for this week, they're not from your actual book. They're more like homework pages, similar to this page here. And that's what you guys will be working with this week. But when we get into next week's more formalized distance learning, hopefully many of you will have your workbook. And those of you that don't have your workbook, I will try to get you the same pages that you can print out at home. Or if you just have the homework type page, that's fine as well. Just work with what you have. So what we're doing in chapter 9 is we're moving on to measurement. And we're starting out in this packet looking at length. So let's do a few activities and talk about some of the vocabulary words that you're going to see in this first part of this unit. So what we're seeing first are the two words. The first one is shortest and the second word is longest. So when you see that EST at the end of those words for shortest and longest, you're comparing two things. Or actually three or more things, right? So we talked about when you have ER, you're comparing two things. And when you have EST, it's more than two, so three or more. So in this case, we are talking about ordering these three pieces of yarn from shortest to longest. So we only have two pieces here. So they want us to draw the middle piece of yarn. But before we do that, let's talk about what does shortest mean. Shortest means the smallest, right? Or the shortest in length, or the one that is not as long as the others. So here's our shortest piece of yarn. And the reason why is that yarn does not stretch as far as this yarn. So it is the shortest yarn. This yarn is the longest because it stretches much farther. But if I was to draw the missing piece of yarn, I wouldn't want to make it longer than this yellow yarn because then it would not be, the yellow yarn then wouldn't be longest. And I wouldn't want to make it smaller than this kind of red yarn here because then this yarn wouldn't be the shortest anymore. So this line here is your starting point so that you're starting all of the yarn at the same point. So if I was to draw another piece of yarn, I would probably put it right about here. Now, this is the shortest and this is the longest, and the third piece is right in the middle. So for your examples, and this is what you would be ending up doing in your workbook pages, is you'll be talking about, and you will be actually drawing lines in order from shortest to longest. So shortest will be your smallest. Your longest, if you wanted to go ahead and go straight into longest. And then the one in the middle yarn or the medium length would have to be somewhere in the middle. So this is where you would have examples. So if you were to do the longest first, you know how you would draw this one, right? And why don't you show me with your hands while you're watching this video? If you had your hands, why don't you make a longest yarn? And then make a shortest yarn. And then why don't you make one in the middle, since you don't have this actual workbook in front of you. All right, good job. So again, we're gonna do more comparing. Let's go up here and let's do shortest first. So show me with your hands at home, what do you think would be shortest? What would be middle? And what would be longest? Yeah. Okay, now they're asking you to draw objects. So do we have to be perfect artists when we draw our objects? No. And in fact, if you didn't want to draw 3 crayons in order from longest to shortest, you could just draw lines again. That's not what's important here, is if we are artists or not, right? So go ahead and show me with your hands longest, show me medium, and show me shortest. All right, very good job. All right. Now, this is our think smarter question. So this is when our brains grow, right? So we have 3 lengths of yarn. Which color, is it green, blue, or red, is the shortest? Say it out loud. Good. The blank yarn and the blank yarn are the same length. Which 2 yarns are the same length? Go ahead and say it out loud. Good job. There you go. So you know all about shortest and longest. And that's really all that this lesson is. And that's what you need to do to be able to complete the page that I sent home. So that's what we're talking about in this first lesson. And the second lesson is very similar. Again, you are measuring and drawing your own. So here we're getting to use clues to solve problems. Let's see if we can solve this problem together. Write shorter or longer to complete the sentence, then draw to prove your answer. So clue 1 says a green pencil is longer than an orange pencil. So we have to remember that, and if you need to take notes, you can. The orange pencil is longer than a brown pencil. So the green pencil is longer than the brown pencil. Well, that's what they came up with. Let's see how they figured that out. So we know the green pencil is longer than the orange pencil. So we can make a green pencil. Let's just draw a line. We know it's longer than the orange pencil, so we're going to make it a little bit longer. The orange pencil is longer than the brown pencil. So we can draw the brown pencil too, right? The brown pencil we know is going to be shorter because the orange pencil is longer. Okay, now because we know that the green pencil is longer than our brown pencil. So this is you getting to work out some kind of mystery puzzles. And that is your second activity that I sent home, was to read the clues, write shorter or longer to complete the sentences, then draw to prove your answer. So you're going to read the clues. I suggest drawing your pictures as you read the clues, because then you've got a nice picture to help you solve your problem. Then the next lesson that you'll be working on is using non-standard units to measure your length. That's basically anything kind of around your house to help you measure. They use a lot of paper clips. If you do not have paper clips in the house, that's fine. You could use Post-it notes. You can use the tip of your pencil, whatever it is, to measure items. As long as you're using the same thing to measure all the items, it doesn't matter what it is. So, in the book, they're using these squares. You can use a marking pen. You can use a highlighter, whatever you want to measure your pieces. And then you can measure the real things around your house. And this is kind of a fun activity because you are already at your house, so you can measure these things. Now, they're saying measure a math book, about how many squares. If you don't have a math book, if you have a storybook, measure the storybook. That's perfectly fine. And they're saying measure a marker here. If you don't have a marker, but you have a pencil, measure the pencil. That's fine. Crayons, erasers, you can be creative. Just go ahead and write in the box what it is that you measured instead. Then another lesson, and I think we have 2 more lessons on this to work through. Yes. So the next one is making your own non-standard measuring tool. So they're saying taking paper clips and stringing them together, but basically your highlighter or your marking pen or whatever it is you have around the house that you are using to measure with, that is your measuring tool. So that will help you with this assignment as well. Again, measuring things with that tool. So if you're at home, it says about how many of your paper clips or how many of your markers or how many of your crayons is it if you measured across your computer or if you measured your desk. Again, if you do not have these items at home, make up your own items. Just write down in words telling me what it was, the item was that you measured. It's not that you're measuring these things, it's just that you're measuring anything and getting used to using that tool to measure your items. And then the last lesson in that packet that I sent home was just using those measuring tools and comparing different items based on their measurement. Talking about them using the words longest or using the words shortest to help you solve. So I'm going to leave it at that. This is pretty straightforward, and your parents will more than likely be able to guide you through this just as well as I can. So if you have any questions, you can email them to me. Hopefully soon you will have your math workbooks, and if you don't, I will be doing smaller lessons to kind of meet each key concept in the future. So let me know how it goes. Thanks.